15 cheap fragrances that I will keep recommending to you. Before starting the main list, I have here one honorable mention from House of Lattafa, Lattafa Nebras. It is from Lattafa's Pride line. It is a very edible, vanilla-based and mouth-watering type of fragrance. Smells like exactly like a steaming cake in a bottle. Just it is too feminine to my taste, but gets solid compliments from women, I have to say, and performance is good. That's why Nebras is honorable mention. Let's see the main list. Let's start by Oud Wonder from Fragrance World. As you can see, it is clone of Tom Ford Oud Wood. It is very close to that fragrance, I can say, almost identical. If you haven't smelled that fragrance, it is like green, woody, slightly bitter, with touch of soapiness at the background. Tom Ford Oud Wood is around 200-250 bucks for 100 ml. This one is 80 ml, not a 100 ml bottle, but I have bought this one like 30-35 bucks if I'm not mistaken. For this price, for this performance, it is a no-brainer fragrance. In my opinion, that's why I will keep recommending this one to you. Lasts like 7 hours on my skin, which is almost identical to Tom Ford Oud Wood, a little bit better. And projection and sillage is average for first hour and a half. I prefer it for spring and fall. Not enough fresh for summer, not enough strong for winter. It is a dressed up and classy fragrance. That's why I prefer it for night times, and definitely has age factor to it. At number 14, Lattafa's Sheikh Shuyukh Final Edition. It is a sweet, citrusy and sour type of fragrance with rooty and earthy, woody type of dry down, very close to YEDP by Yves Saint Laurent. I can say this one is as sexy, as long lasting and as complimenting as YEDP for this price. For this great scent profile, I believe it is no brainer and smells very legit. Nothing synthetic. I can say almost identical to YEDP in terms of scent profile and performance. One of those complimenting casual fragrances for spring and summer. Number 13, Bentley for Men Black Edition. For this price, man, this fragrance is a must-have if you are into citrusy, leafy, slightly green and mature fragrances. When I say green, it is not like barbershoppy, but it is mature, has leafy, some sort of tobacco-y feel to it. It is very sour, citrusy and refreshing, and at the dry down gets darker because of ambroxan. So it is something modern and at the same time old school, I have to say. It is mature, lasts only 10 hours plus easily, and projection and sillage is good for first 2 hours. Gets better compliments in the spring and summer, but scent profile is kinda all season round. At number 12, another great job from House of Armaf, Club de Nuit Sillage. It is citrusy, spicy, woody, and musky with a very unique scent profile. It is a take on Silver Mountain Water from House of Creed. I say take because it is close to that fragrance, but not identical because of added spicy and woody notes. Like the name, sillage has a great sillage, leaves a long scent trail behind. Projection is also good, but sillage is way better. I prefer it for spring and summer. Better for spring because of that spicy woody base, I have to say. Lasts only 10 hours plus, and I prefer it for daytimes and casual situations. Number 11, such a great value for the money, Eternal Oud from House of Lattafa. I have to say at the first, when you hear Eternal Oud, it is not Eternal Oud something here. It is more about vanilla and amber. It is sweet, it is powdery, very little creamy, milky somehow, and with touch of oud way at the background of the fragrance. So don't let that oud turn you off. It is not that much about oud. Smells very luxury, dressed up and expensive, I have to say. Closed eyes, you can't guess that this fragrance is 30-40 bucks for 100 ml, very close to Grand Soir by Francis Kurkdjian, but leans more masculine because of those little drops of oud at the background. I get 10 hours plus longevity. Projection and sillage is solid for first 2 hours, and I prefer it for fall and winter, maybe spring nights. Now we are at top 10 without any further ado from House of Afnan, 9 p.m. A fruity, loud, happy and very little bubblegummy type of fragrance. This one also has age factor to it, but leans youthful. It is more juvenile. And if you like mature fragrances, this is definitely not for you, as it is too sweet, too happy, fruity and bubblegummy. Very close to Jean Paul Gaultier's Ultra Male, but leans a bit flatter compared to that fragrance, or let's say simplified version of that fragrance. Lasts only 10 hours plus, and projection and sillage is solid for first 2 hours. I prefer it for fall, winter, spring nights. Let's continue by House of Armaf. At number 9, Armaf Club de Nuit Urban Man Elixir, a comprehensive and crowded type of fragrance, and it smells like mixture of few well-known complementing fragrances in one bottle. For example, we're gonna get here that backbone of Dior Sauvage, that lavender, pepper, and amber accent, and we can get Invictus by Paco Rabanne, that sweet freshness and sourness, citrusiness of YEDP, and Lin's sweet at the base. I wish it was not that sweet, but if you are into cheap complementing fragrances, this one is one of those 10 out of 10 cheapies. I can get 8 to 10 hours plus longevity with this one, and projection and sillage is good for first 2 hours. It is somehow also round type of fragrance, but a little bit because of that sweet base, I wouldn't prefer it that much for extremely hot summer days, but for normal summer days is okay. Spring, fall, and winter, but not enough powerful, like strong for winter. Let's say to this one, except winter, also round type of fragrance. Number 8, if you are into freshy, mass appealing, citrusy fragrances, just stop the video, go grab a bottle. Afnan Turathi Blue, such a unique, citrusy, sour, and woody type of fragrance, but leans more in that citrusy, fresh, and slightly fizzy side with touch of amber accent and woody notes at the base. It is like 70% in that fresh, appealing, citrusy side. It is definitely a must-have because of performance, because of expensive smelling scent profile, because of that huge complementing factor. Lasts on me like 8 hours plus. Projection and sillage is good for first 2 hours. Spring and summer type of fragrance, very close to Bulgari Tiger, which is around $300 for 100 ml, and this one is like $30-40. And performance, price, complementing factor, all are 10 out of 10. Number 7, masterpiece, Lattafa Khamrah. So I want to be honest with you, it is not my cup of tea, as it is too sweet to my taste and not that masculine or dark, but gets the job done. Whenever I wear this fragrance, gets me compliments. One of those compliment monster fragrances, but as I said, not my cup of tea. It is extremely sweet. What I get here, ton of cinnamon, spicy sweet, very little like drops of booze at the background of the fragrance, and dried fruity atmosphere like dates. In the brief, it is oriental and spicy, dense type of fragrance. Such a great performance, like crazy 8 hours plus I can get with this one. Yeah, it lasts like 12 hours plus on my skin, but first 8 hours are crazy strong, and projection and sillage is extremely loud for first 2-3 hours. I prefer it for fall and winter, and leans a little bit more dressed up. Number 6, another masterpiece from House of Lattafa, Oud for Glory. If you have seen Oud for Greatness, you can guess immediately they are going after that fragrance here. Even they cloned the presentation. So in terms of scent profile, very close to that fragrance, but I have to say here, it is not for everybody. It is heavy on that Oud side. Oud is not for everyone. It is a daring fragrance, a love and hate, but definitely I like it as I'm into darker fragrances. So it is bitter because of Oud, and saffron is here prominent, gives to fragrance a very crazy oriental atmosphere. I really enjoy it, and it is sweet, like candy floss at the base of the fragrance, like mixture of Baccarat Rouge with Oud wood from House of Tom Ford. I mean, you can get both of those fragrances, those DNAs, let's say, in this bottle. This one lasts on me 10 to 12 hours plus in terms of longevity, and projection and sillage is fair enough good for first 2-3 hours. Gets compliments, and I prefer it for fall and winter, and I go like 4 to 6 sprays with this one. This is more than enough. Now we are at top 5. I want to stand up as a respect for this fragrance. It is that good. This one. It is that good. Supremacy, not only intense from House of Afnan. It is extrait de parfum, means even more concentrated than EDP, like 40% oil concentration we have here. Oh, it is, I forgot what to say. It is citrusy, earthy, and just perfect. Something between Creed Aventus, you can get inspirations, and Nishane's Hajiwat, but leans closer to Hajiwat side, I have to say, because it is way more earthy compared to the Aventus. I can get 10-12 hours plus longevity, compliments out of this world, and I prefer it for spring and summer. It is better for spring. At number 4, another great must-have cheapie, Again, for sure from House of Lattafa Asad. But if you are into this type of fragrances, it is a must-have because it is not safe, easy to wear, aquatic, sweet, citrusy type of fragrance. It is herbal, woody, and spicy, dark type of fragrance. Very close to Dior Sauvage Elixir, but not identical, like 70% close to that fragrance. You can get that backbone of Dior Sauvage Elixir, but we have here added to my nose, it is my opinion, some sort of pencil shaving vibe, which is available in Pure Excess. So for me, this one is like mixture of both of those fragrances, Dior Sauvage Elixir and Paco Rabanne's Pure Excess. Smells very expensive, performs very good, gets solid compliments. It is a 10 out of 10 fragrance. I can get like 10 hours plus longevity with this one, even more. And projection and sillage is very good for first 2 hours. I prefer it for fall and winter, and leans definitely dressed up. Number 3 from House of Lattafa again. It is easily at top 5 my all-time favorite cheapies. Ameer Oud Intense. Smells very expensive, performs and gets compliments. But when I say it smells expensive, gets compliments, and it is long-lasting, it doesn't mean that it's blind buy worthy fragrance. It is definitely not for everyone. It is a smoky and daring, at some points offensive, I can say, type of fragrance. I prefer it for fall and winter. Even it is better for winter, and it smells dressed up for night times. Number 2. If you want a lasting fragrance, if you want to smell expensive at the same time and impress people around you with your scent, with your fragrance, without breaking the bank, this is the one to go. Haramain Amber Oud Tobacco Edition. It is a very dressed up, bossy and outstanding, niche smelling type of fragrance that has that appealing factor at the same time to it. Very close to Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford. Just a little bit more clovey here. In terms of that clove note, it is much more prominent compared to the Tobacco Vanille, but man, in there smells identical and performs better at some points compared to that fragrance. You're gonna get immediately a ton of clove. It is like oriental and honey. It is mouth-watering. It is legit smelling and natural. Oh, and tobacco is way at the background of the fragrance, so you're gonna get more vanilla, honey, and clove rather than tobacco. At the dry down, tobacco starts shining a little bit more than the opening. In terms of performance, 12 hours plus. Projection and sillage, 2-3 hours. Loud. Scent profile, compliments, price, performance, all 10 out of 10, I have to say. One of my most complimented cheapies, I have to say. And so I prefer it for fall and winter, spring nights, and it is definitely dressed up. At number 1, at the top of list of cheap fragrances that I will keep recommending to you. But at first, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet and you find value in my videos, please subscribe and support me by your likes. I really appreciate that. Armaf Club de Nuit Intense Man EDP. You can't go wrong with any of these versions. EDT, this one limited edition parfum. But this one is much more for me, I can say, because it has a better opening, more rounded and closer to Creed Aventus, and definitely a solid smoky dry down. You can get better performance even with parfum and limited edition, but this is also not a weak fragrance. It is like 8 hours plus type of lasting, and definitely one of those solid, expensive smelling, complimenting cheap fragrances out there. Take care, guys.